Good afternoon. My name is Oleg Khuchlaev, and I am the head of the Department of Ethnic Psychology and Psychological Problems of Polycultural Education at the Moscow State University of Psychology and Education. I would like to say some words about polycultural education and problems of integration of migrants. I would like to point out three key components in the issue under discussion. The first one, what is polycultural education in general? The second one, what are the main tasks of polycultural education? And finally, the third one, what makes its peculiarity and what specific and particular techniques and approaches should it apply? First of all, let me notice that we use the term polycultural education rather frequently, but we do it a bit mechanically in most cases and implement it as some up-to-date term. Generally speaking, polycultural education is related to cultural diversity within a classroom. But are we saying that any culturally diverse and heterogeneous school, let it hold certain festivals and celebrations of national cultures, could be automatically regarded as an institute promoting polycultural education? I assume that is not quite correct. Such school could be considered as polyethnic institute. Then the following questions could arise. What are the main features, specific character, and basic task of polycultural education? Due to the fact that this phenomena does not imply certain object, the question posed seems to be rather complicated. The point is also reflected in the fact that the task of classical polycultural education originated in the USA and known as multicultural education was to ensure equal rights for minorities within particular educational milieu, appreciation of cultural diversity. The term used in our country is somehow a clone of the USA experience, which is obviously neither bad nor good. But the USA experience is closely connected with the challenges the country had to face, and it made the task really urgent. But the situation is rather different as far as Europe is concerned, and Russia is supposed to be a part of it. It is not surprising, then, that the term multicultural education was more widely spread in Europe. The basic objective of this phenomena is not so much to support cultural diversity, as to ensure efficient education for children of foreign origin and integration of these children into educational milieu. It seems to be quite clear and particular practical task. In my opinion, polycultural education makes sense in our country uppermost as an efficient model of migrants' integration. Hereby, the question of polycultural education specific features stands no longer. And if a school is involved in the issue of migrants' integration, then it is automatically involved in polycultural education implementation. And vice versa. If we do not observe migrants' integration, we can hardly talk about efficient polycultural education. As far as Moscow experience is concerned, I should say that the question of migrants has been discussed there for a long time, and it has over 10-year-old history. And the direction to organize courses of Russian as a foreign language could be a documentary proof of it. It happened in 2000. The first program related to the issue of migrants' children integration was created 7 years ago. Schools of Russian language were founded and the teaching of children who did not or hardly spoke Russian was initiated. But despite of all these considerable and significant successes and results, we still have to respond to a challenge. What is the proper way to ensure migrants' integration so that the process would be efficient indeed? The language issue is obviously extremely important, but it is not the only one, and there are a lot of other issues. The process of integration is not bounded to language teaching solely. To put it another way, what should we consider to be efficient techniques of polycultural education? We have been We have been working on this issue for quite some time with the colleagues from Moscow State University of Psychology and Education, and there is now some definite and clear answer to this question. But we suggest the following variant. Our idea is that a real process of migrants' children integration into some educational milieu is not possible without mutual transmission of interacted cultures. Cooperation and communication of children of different cultures make this mutual cultural transmission possible. So we are talking about real and direct interaction of various interethnic and intercultural groups. I would like to highlight once again the idea of real communication. And I mean substantial and fundamental type of communication, touching some urgent and crucial issues. This type of communication is quite a rare fact in modern schools, despite of some interactions in classes, students' answers and replies, and so on and so forth. Children of migrants can attend this or that school for years, but at the same time they may not participate in a real substantial communication, and thereby the process of integration does not take place. Thus, we can say that it is positive interaction of migrants' children and members of a whole society that makes a real integration possible. Let me remind you that the word real is a key word in this regard. We can make the following basic conclusion out of this. If we try to define polycultural education, and if we take it by contradiction, we can assume that polycultural educational milieu is not a system of school objectives and functions focused on festivals, celebrations, concerts, and extracurricular activities. This is not a complex of events and activities, but these are special features of everyday work and cares, starting with extracurricular schedule and moving to each particular lesson that are supposed to ensure efficient and fruitful interaction between migrants' children and representatives of a host culture, as well as between parents and teachers. That is to say that the task of polycultural school, which is going to deal with migrants' integration, is to reconsider its activities so that each lesson, each subject, extracurricular activities, let it be classroom hours, projects, festivals, and celebrations, would take into account the issue of interaction between children of various cultures, the way they exchange their views. The point is that this is the culture migrants are supposed to be integrated in. First of all, we do not mean integration into quasi-Russian culture. These children are not supposed to put on kokoshniks, to sing Kalinka-Malinka, though these items are also rather significant. The children would lead just an ordinary everyday life, just the same life their peers in Moscow are supposed to lead. And the children would be able to assimilate the experience and to cope with this ordinary everyday life thanks to direct cooperation and interaction. Thank you. Let me wish all the participants and viewers of the Internet Symposium every success. Thank you.